about, and we hope together with yourselves we should be able to drive this. The second point I want to make is really about the government policy around driving this sector much more aggressively than we have before. Today, a significant part of our leather industry is concentrated in development of the hides up to a semi-processed stage, commonly referred to as wet blue, which is really a very, very, very basic processing before we get into finished leather. And yet, there's so many leather products that are coming into the country. We have, in the last couple of years, made it difficult for people to export raw hides. That is a big win. That is to provide raw materials for our industry, and that is working well. What we want to do is in the next 2 to 3 years, and we are doing this jointly with the sector players, is we will also make it difficult for people, industry, to export the semi-processed leather. We want as much as possible of our leather to be processed into the finished leather. That will then become the raw materials for many of our other leather products, be it bags, be it footwear, and so many other things that we will need in our country, in the region, but also be able to export in different parts of the world, where today we have some significant preferential market access, like in the US under the AGOA program, EU, and many other places. So the policies are not going to be a surprise to many people. It's something that is being developed jointly with the KLDC, as well as the private sector players who actually will contribute in driving this sector to its final conclusion in a way that it benefits investors, in a way that it benefits the actual consumers in this country, and be able to help us to compete globally. Recently, in the last budget, many of you would have seen that leather products that are today produced within the export processing zone facilities that would traditionally be subjected to tax have now been amended such that up to 20% of those leather products that are today produced within our export zones that are geared for exports can now be sold into the domestic market. Up to 20% of that can be sold into the domestic market duty-free. And that is something that we are doing deliberately to provide access, to make it possible for people in our country and in the region to access competitive products that are manufactured in this country. And that, by the way, also extends to the textile sector. Today, our people depend a lot on second-hand, be it footwear or actually clothes, and yet most of those products are actually manufactured within our territories, and we are not able to do that. So these policies are geared towards helping consumers to access that and also provide market access for the investors. So the policy direction is one that will be driven jointly. There will be no surprises, trust me. And we will make sure that we drive this together to achieve the benefits and get a much bigger chunk of the $100 billion pie that is out there that we should be able to capture. And finally, it's actually the message to the investors who are here today, who we're looking forward to really drive this program. What we can do as government is to really provide the necessary enabling environment, be it infrastructure such as the Machakos Leather Park that you will see, or you have seen the model. We will be doing some heavy infrastructure investments in there to make it easy for you just to focus on your actual production, and also the relevant policies that would be necessary to help you compete effectively within the country amongst yourselves, but also globally. And so I am sure you will hear more about the specifics of what is being asked for, what you might want to figure out, and I hope that we will have a number of takers on people who will be booking space in this state-of-art leather city, the only one of its kind in the region that we feel very optimistic about in driving the leather industry for this country. So ladies and gentlemen, with those many remarks, just want to say how excited I am to see such a number of investors of diverse backgrounds, and I look forward to inviting everybody to actually participate in this very important launch of this city. And by the way, we will be launching this formally with a big drama and noise at some stage in the near future, but today is just to whet the appetite of investors. And I'm told that is the website of the kenyaleatherpark.go.ke, and I'm sure you will find a lot more stories in there. And if in doubt, and if you have no clear information, you need anything, you've seen the CEO, he would be the primary source of contact who can guide you in the right direction. So thank you very much, and good to see you once again. Thank you.
There's some things that we already have that we just need to do a little value addition, and we can move this country in terms of jobs and money. And leather was one of the things we mentioned, and we said 99% of the leather that leaves this country, it's actually complete almost 99%. It just needs 1%, and it can be finished good. And that will triple the number of jobs and increase the GDP by almost 2%. And so that's when this whole discussion moved to another level. And just to see that happening today, now to the place where we are launching, the ministry is actually launching the park. For me, this is just not talk only. And I really, really appreciate what the ministry has done.
All right, Dr. Kirudo, I'll just ask that you, maybe in about a minute, take us through the experience of the task force from when you came in, maybe the top 2 or 3 lessons you've learned in the period in which you've been in the task force to get us to where we are now.
Good morning. First of all, I must say that this is a milestone. A lot of people, when this idea was mooted by the CS, actually said this is a government-driven program. Is it going to really work? First of all, I must say that the foundation which has been put is very, very solid, because there was a lot of planning and a lot of thoughts put into this process, and also experiences from other countries, some experiences of leather industrial parks which have worked, experiences of leather industrial parks which have also not worked so well. So all these experiences have been considered, and also we have taken into account that we are not only looking at Kenya as a raw material producer of raw hides and skins. We are not looking at Kenya as a country where we want to just see import substitution. We were looking during this period at truly coming up with a program which is going to lead it to a transformation, and as part of the transformation agenda of the Ministry of Industrialization. So first, I would like to say that this was a needs-driven initiative. And the need has been there for a long, long time. It's only that the drivers for that change were not there. Secondly, this program was initiated with a view of creating a lot of competitiveness within the private sector, and also to be supported also through skills upgrading, which are all other programs which government must do. And thirdly, this is also a program which we foresee that value addition is going to be driven by innovation, because value addition in finishing of products, making sure that the products which are processed are all made by leather, where we can trace back and see that all the processes employed considered environmental impact assessments. And as you know, environment, and especially for the leather industry, is a big issue. So these are some of the things which we considered in detail and with a lot of planning. And I must thank the task force members who are here. So I think there's been a lot of work, obviously under the stewardship of the CS. And I think what we are seeing now is the fruit of very good leadership. I pray that the CS is going to continue providing that leadership as we go on, because this is just the beginning. But it is a beginning with a very good foundation. Thank you.
I want to jump straight to the people who actually do the work of leather, and perhaps it's a nice time to come to you, Mr. Njoka. Why is it that we produce the cows, we produce the semi-finished leather, we don't come and produce the bags, the shoes, the belts, the higher value products? What's this thing that's missing?
Thank you so much. As you have earned, I'm Robert Joka. Yeah, Chairman of Kenya Tanners Association, Director Zingo Investment. As it has been said, the big challenge that we've been having in this industry, one, and which I really do appreciate our CS, is lack of facilities. And lack of facilities has been contributed by lack of land. What we want to say, and we are very grateful to Kenya government today, is to provide us with the land, because as you are aware, tanneries or leather industry is termed as one of notorious environmental pollutants. And so getting right place for setting up a light plant and doing the light production has been the big challenge. But I want to assure you that with the current stake the government has taken, we'll be having a quite ideal place, that is the Kinan. And what I want to assure the potential investors, that is, this industry is very virgin. As you are aware, we have got a lot of shortfall, as what has been asked. Why are we so much in semi-finished instead of finishing? One, I would say, and this is not a challenge, is the intensive capital investment. But with the support we are getting from the government today, and with the policy which is coming on board of minimizing the export of wet brew and going to the finished product, that is only the avenue we can assure our government. What also I'm saying is there was a challenge of the market there before, but with the coming of the policy, the act, which the CS as guarantees is there will be no smuggling of the low height, so we are assured of the raw material is available. So those people will be having fear of investing because the market is not there with the current act, which you have been informed in before the end of the year should be on board. I want to assure you, as one of the investors, we have no other challenge, so we'll be able actually to invest in equipment to do the finishing. And that's now what will be able to give us the finished product of what we are saying 10% not available, and we can be able to meet the market demand. The market demand is very big. And let me assure you, this is only the industry where we have not even utilized our market, our internal market, even 10%. So by adding value to wet brew, getting to crushed, getting to finishing, and let me say it here, from low to wet brew, consumption is almost 30 shillings, 25 shillings. But when you come to finishing, it's about 14 shillings. So you can see the bit remaining is cheaper than what actually we have been doing. So I'd encourage our investors and assure them the market is there, the government is there for us, so we are able to meet the 10% we are saying we have got shortfall, and also the market, I would bring to your attention that it is 110% available. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njoka. I want to jump to Mr. Kidenda from the Export Processing Zones Authority. One of the things that obviously is a problem for investors is space.
Perhaps one of the biggest challenges at the beginning was to ensure that the spaces were right for investors and ensuring that whatever we availed to investors was serviced by providing the necessary infrastructure that would then enable investors to plug and play. As the EPZ authority, we looked at the land mass that we have available and identified 500 acres in Kinani area of Machakos County. That land has since been master planned. We've finished all the physical planning details of that. We've subdivided, surveyed the land. So land is available in different sizes. We have 1 hectare plots. You can also get 5 hectare plots, which would be fully serviced for investors to come in and set up. What we're also doing is providing facilitation in terms of getting investors to get electricity connections. If they need work permits, we'd be able to assist with that. We'll also have in-house to ensure that whoever is exporting is able to get his documentation done within the industrial park, and then they're able to export without any other challenges in terms of delays in time. We are also working with the Kenya Bureau of Standards to ensure that issues such as conformity are addressed within the park, and that would also help fasten the process of investment. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kidenda. Now to jump back to you, Isaac Nuru. We heard from you earlier, but I'm going to ask you a typical journalistic question. You need to ask the hard ones. A lot of these spaces have been launched, and I won't mention them here, but we hear of quite a number of them. Is this going to be reality, and when? Give me a date.
It will depend with the people with money in their pockets, and they are here. The business of government is to facilitate. My colleague has already mentioned land is available, even if you require 5 hectares. I want to assure the investing community that our business is to facilitate, and we shall facilitate as soon as you will be available. But the other small challenges, fixing the road, other small fixing the electricity, the transformers, this will definitely start from today, and I'm sure my colleague has already mentioned they are already at advanced stage, and therefore as soon as possible we shall ask the CS to alert the boss so that the real launch can be done. Thank you.
Before we go to the people who you have challenged to put in the money, I want to jump to you, Mr. Korir, from a government point of view, because the challenge, I believe, is also to yourself as much as it is to the CS. A lot of